Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Pleased to be joined by fellow lifetime Longhorn, the young phenom CJ Vogel, and also joined by the coach, former high school football coach at Burnett, Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rotan. Also played college football at Abilene Christian. Coached there in multiple stints. Was on the University of Texas staff as well for multiple head coaches. And today you can find his work at shipleyranches.com. It's our own coach, Bob Shipley. What's going on, Coach? Glad you could join us.
Hey, all good.
Looking good
all
outside,
good, baby.
Coach.
It's game week. It's OU week. It's 3:20, and they still suck.
You're damn right. See, that's the way we get it started. That's that. Thank you, Coach. Thank you starting us off the right way. I apologize. I should have threw that in there. You're damn right they do, and they always will. Because of Texas OU week, we'll talk a lot about that matchup, of course. Steve Sarkeesian had his Monday media availability. My man CJ was there, had boots on the ground, so we'll get CJ's thoughts about what Sark had to say. As a matter of fact, we'll hear a little from Steve Sarkeesian talking about Quinn Ewers and his status. What's up, still man CJ? What's up to all you guys? Thank you guys for joining us. Yes, OU sucks, William. We know that. Thank you for reiterating, and thank all you guys for joining us wherever you are. Remember, you know how it works. We'll try to address as many and answer as many questions and comments as we can. Super chats jump to the front line. You can interrupt the show at any time, but we'll talk mostly Texas OU. And I want to get coach's thoughts about the weekend. It's supposed to be a boring college football weekend. It was anything but boring. You had 1, 4, 9, 10, 11 all go down over the weekend. So that's why the Longhorns were catapulted back to the number one spot in the land. So I got to get coach's thoughts about that. All the upsets that happened over the weekend. Vanderbilt beating Alabama. Never thought I'd live to see the day. But a lot of things that are happening now that we haven't seen in a long time, including Texas being ranked number one going into the Texas OU game, which hasn't happened since 1984. Been a long time since that was the case. All right, gentlemen, let's get things started here. I want to first get your thoughts, CJ, about what Sark had to say. Let's talk about Sark's comments from the media availability. Did anything stand out that Sark said in his media availability for the Texas OU game for you?
I know we got to wait till Saturday for this game to kick off and finally get going. But on a positive note, if this game was played today, Quinn Ewers would be the Texas starting quarterback. Sarkeesian mentioned that today. Of course, they'll take it day by day to see how he's feeling. Right now, he practiced all 3 days last week during the off week, practiced again on Monday, has been ramping up his throwing each day. And right now, everything is lining up right now for him to be that starting quarterback again for the Texas Longhorns when they go up to Dallas on Saturday to face off with Oklahoma. I don't think that's much of a surprise, but to hear it from Steve Sarkeesian, who, you know, we've come to find out with Sark, he likes to keep his injuries and what's happening behind closed doors, behind closed doors. He likes to keep those things pretty quiet. So for him to come out and say that things are looking pretty positively for Quinn Ewers, I would say is a great sign in that regard as well. So starting off Monday with a pretty positive note health-wise for Texas and its quarterback Quinn Ewers.
As a matter of fact, yeah, we'll hear from Sark talking about the health of his quarterback from that media availability. But, Coach, I want to get your thoughts. I got a random question. I got a couple of questions for you guys, but I want to get your thoughts. Because I can't remember it. How rare is it where Texas and Oklahoma both have the bye week before this game? How rare is that?
Yeah,
and what are the advantages of it? Sorry, Coach, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm thankful both teams had an advantage. So, you know, had the week off so that so that they could prepare. But I don't remember there being an off week like this before. But I wonder if that was something that was negotiated or something the SEC rivalry games get a week off before. I'm really not sure how that worked out. I'm thankful it did for us for sure.
Yeah, and actually one of those things where I think it's a push. I'm not sure if it's more advantageous to either team, considering, you know, there's advantages, I'm sure, on both sides, considering they had a bye week. You can expect the unexpected, I think. A lot of tendency breakers on both sides with extra time to prepare. Let me ask you this. Well, first of all, let's hear from Sark. We're talking about Quinn and quarterback. Matthew has this cut of Steve Sarkeesian today at his Monday media availability, talking about his starting quarterback, Quinn Ewers, who is coming off an injury and off the bye week. Looks like he is ready to go. Here is Steve Sarkeesian. Matthew, if you can have that ready to go. Here is Sark talking about his quarterback.
I think a couple things. One, Quinn worked last week for our 3 practices. He practiced again today. I thought he looked good coming off the bye. I think if anybody benefited from the time off, it was probably him. We're going to monitor him daily just to kind of see how he continues to progress. But I feel good about if how he was today. I feel good about him going Saturday, but that remains to be seen. And I have no hesitation with Arch going in the game. I think he's proven that to us over 2.5 games of football that he's really played in and competed in, that he can run our offense and he can be successful. And so, like I said, like I talked about the offensive line, we're fortunate to be in the position that we're in, to have 2 quality players at the quarterback position that we have confidence in and that their teammates have confidence in.
Would Quinn start right now if you had to pick something?
If we had to play today, sure. But again, that's why it's important that we monitor him kind of daily, because I want to see how he responds to extended work and what that looks like, to make sure that he's as healthy as he can be to perform.
All right. See, honestly, to me, that's the same Sark that was trying to keep the door open, that Arch wasn't going to start after Quinn initially got the injury. He wasn't going to start that game versus ULM. And I think ultimately that's what I feel now. I think at that point, CJ, Coach, we all were pretty confident Arch was going to start that game, but Sark left the door wide open. He never made his mind up, at least to the media, until the absolute last possible moment. And I feel like the same thing here. If you're an opposing coach, you have to do your due diligence. It's almost irresponsible and malpractice as a coach that if it's a possibility, even the slightest, they will play one of the other quarterbacks, you have to prepare for them. You have to devote some game planning, some time in practice to that other quarterback. And I think that's what Sark is doing here. It may not be a huge advantage, but that's definitely what I feel, because we all know, and I hate some Sooners to be watching this and going, hey, the Longhorns are pretty confident that Quinn's going to start. Quinn's going to start this game versus Oklahoma, but yet Sark's leaving the door open. Like Arch is going to play. Like Arch is not going to start this game. This is Quinn's start. It's a legacy game for Quinn. He ain't starting this game, but I love that he's going to force the opponent to prepare for Arch. You're going to have to prepare for him now.
Yeah, 100%. And what's interesting is you have to prepare differently for the 2 quarterbacks, right? Yes. Arch's mobility, his ability to run, that changes things in this Texas offense. Fortunately for the Texas defense, right, we know that Oklahoma is likely to start Michael Hawkins, but I don't think their game plan would have changed all too much from a Jackson Arnold to a Michael Hawkins. Yes, he's a better athlete, but let's not act like Jackson Arnold wasn't a good running quarterback. Against Tulane, he had 18 rush attempts for 95 yards. He was one of the biggest reasons why Oklahoma even won that game, and it was because of his legs more so than his arm, which has kind of been the case for the Oklahoma offense this entire year. So that was the continuity or kind of change in quarterback from Arnold to Hawkins. It hasn't felt like it's been that significant of a change in style or scheme or what we've seen from that OU offense. Of course, it's certainly handcuffed a little bit by all of these injuries to the wide receivers as well, but the run game, for the most part, has remained a constant so far in this Oklahoma offense, which, if you've known anything about this Texas staff, they like to game plan a little bit ahead of when it becomes game week. So they've been looking at this OU offense for quite some time, and I'm sure that running aspect has been accounted for even before the bye week.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. And, Coach, it kind of reminds me, I don't know if you saw the Eli Drinkowitz comments prior to their game versus A&M, Missouri's head coach, but he was pretty, right now a lot of people are being critical of him, but he was pretty adamant that that basically they were going to start Marcel Reed at quarterback and not Connor Wigman. And some people think that even his confidence may have been overconfident, and maybe that affected their game planning, and that Connor Wigman started the game and had one of his best games we've seen him as a starter, and that maybe Drinkowitz had them preparing for Marcel Reed, who are different quarterbacks in that system. So that's why I brought that up. That was interesting. I think Sark's leaving it wide open. He's not going to let them know definitively who's going to start the game, but it's definitely going to be Quinn, right? There's no way that Arch is going to start that game, right, Coach?
I wouldn't think so, but I love the way that he's playing chess with the OU people. And, we know that we feel like either one of them could get the job done, but we know that when Quinn is a quarterback, it seems to be that we get in a little rhythm earlier, and Sark seems to be, in my opinion, for whatever reason, more in a sync and in a groove play calling with Quinn than he is, with Manning. But we'll see. But I'm like you. I love it. I think, you wait until you find out. Sorry about that. You wait till you find out. And if they spent too much time working on one guy, then it could be, you could be looking at a situation like Missouri was looking against A&M. Although I don't think Missouri, I think, I don't know how strong their team is. They haven't played a real strong schedule, but we're learning as we go into this SEC where, everybody's going to land. We're kind of, trying to figure out the pecking order of where all this is going to be. And I certainly thought Missouri would come in and give them a better game. But, I don't know. I think maybe some teams were overrated, and certainly some teams, a la Vandy, is underrated.
To me, Coach, it's kind of like that old coachism about watching film, right? They always say you're going there watching film. It's never as good as you thought, but it's never as bad as you thought either. To me, that's the SEC in a nutshell right now. It's not as good as we thought at the top with the big dogs. They're not as dominant as we thought. Your Georgias, your Alabama's, your Tennessees. They're not as dominant as I think Texas is, but we're talking about the rest of the SEC. But the bottom dwellers that we assumed would be, the worst teams in the SEC, your Arkansas, your Kentuckys, your Vanderbilts of the world, they're not necessarily going to be the bottom dwellers that we anticipated. There's no pushovers right now in the SEC. Where's the pushover? Hey, Vanderbilt's supposed to be the pushover game. We go there, we're going to Nashville. Everybody gets to drink and have a good time. We ain't worried about the game because that's a pushover game. Now you got Vanderbilt, even though they can't, they believe they can beat Texas now. They believe it. Now, and why wouldn't they believe it? They just beat Alabama. Sure. They had the biggest win in the history of the program. So now they believe it. Arkansas, Arkansas always believe they can beat Texas, whether they're good enough or not, because they hate Texas more than they love themselves. And even the damn coach admitted. So you got that to deal with. And they just had their big win at home over Tennessee. And then, of course, the Aggies, and Bobby Burton said, and we talked to Bobby, he said, man, it might have been the most impressive, well-rounded win for the Aggies they've had in a couple of years there. And we know that's going to be a religious experience for them when Texas has to travel. The one thing that I think that we all kind of learned over the weekend was that there's no pushovers in the SEC. I don't know if this is as top heavy as people thought, but there's no pushovers anymore. I know that. You ain't no easy wins necessarily in the SEC, and I think we assumed there were going to be a couple easy wins in there. Nope.
Especially when you look at the road games we've got remaining. I mean, golly, they all won, and we weren't thinking it was going to be quite that difficult, but we did know at the same time, we did know that in the SEC, you got to bring it every week. And it's just as well for UT because it just resonates what Sark has been telling his team since the end of August. You better come ready to play every single week. Everybody's gunning for you. And in this conference, it can certainly turn into disaster if you're not ready to go.
Yeah, there's any given Saturday feel to it right now in the SEC. There's no doubt. Okay, really, we got a special guest joining us. Before we do that, let's hit this super chat here because super chats, they jump to the front of the line. Interrupt the show at any time. You know how that goes. Sugar Daddy, what's up, Sugar Daddy? Thank you for the super chat. Did y'all see DeBoer address the Malachi Moore deal? Okay, Coach, did you see the Malachi Moore temper tantrum at the end of the Bama-Vandy game? Okay.
I did.
I want to give you the floor. Honestly, you're a coach, so I want to get your thoughts more than anything. Because apparently Kalen DeBoer and CJ, I don't know if you've kept up with it. From what I can gather, he is not going to punish Malachi Moore. There will be no punishment, disciplinary action. I think that's what people are right now. That's what the story is that they were asking him, are you going to discipline young man for his actions? and I don't know if he confirmed that was going to be disciplinary actions taken. So first of all, what are your thoughts about the Malachi Moore thing? And if Kevin DeBoer should he punish the young man or shouldn't he? Like, what are your thoughts about that overall?
Yeah, well, he was really between a rock and a hard spot because there were a ton of cameras on him while that was happening. And I thought DeBoer handled it as good as you could. You don't want, to be in a verbal confrontation, much less a physical confrontation with a player on the sidelines. Sometimes you have to just swallow it, let it go, and you handle it behind closed doors. I have not heard what the result of his decision is going to be, but I'm sure Malachi Moore, if he's not punished, he will certainly apologize in front of the team to Coach DeBoer and will have some type of repentant attitude, so forth. Because if you don't do that, then it's not long till your team gets out of control, especially if you don't continue to win games. If you lose those close games, more and more of the players will potentially vent their frustrations. So it has to be handled, but I'm sure it was handled behind closed doors. And Malachi and Coach DeBoer got in front of the team and got everything straight. I'm hoping that's what they did.
Yeah, and there you go. Thank you, Matthew, the constant professional you are. When he was asked about whether he was going to suspend Malachi Moore, he said, no, we have handled it. He's had my back and the program's back since January, and now it's time for me to have his back. He's been very accountable, and everything he's done for me, has been prompted by him, he said. So there you go. So basically, coach is right. It's going to be handled behind the scenes.
Yeah. Hey, you probably don't need to punish him any more than what he's already been punished by his own tanking of his draft stock after this game. So, if you're Alabama, just make sure that he's able to suit back up for the next game, I guess.
He did offer an apology on Instagram. He said, I was completely out of line as a two-time captain and a fifth-year player. I understand the standard that we are expected to live up to at Alabama, and I failed to do so by acting in a selfish and unacceptable manner. So he put out a statement via Instagram. He understands what he did. Some people are saying Kevin DeBoer not showing that he's a great kind of coach by not making a public example of his player. But as Coach said, that's kind of something that's between he and his locker room, pretty much. All right, let's talk about a man who knows all about the locker room. He is a good friend of ours and a good friend of mine, and we appreciate him coming on each and every time. Lifetime Longhorn Stevie Lee is joining us here on The Winning Drive. What's up, Stevie?
What's happening, guys?
He's joining us courtesy of our good friends at Hartgrove Roofing. Hartgrove Roofing, of course, we appreciate them being a part of the On Texas football family. And this segment of The Winning Drive is sponsored by our friends over at Hartgrove Roofing. Know who's on your roof. Thanks to Hartgrove Roofing for sponsoring The Winning Drive with offices all over Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. Hartgrove is the choice of customers everywhere for superior, reliable service. If you're in need of a new roof, you'll want to know who's on your roof. It's Hartgrove Roofing. Know who's on your roof with Hartgrove Roofing. And that won't be Stevie Lee. Stevie Lee's not going to actually get on the roof, but he'll recommend you to go to Hartgrove Roofing. And by the way, if you want a free roof inspection, Hartgrove Roofing can also hook you up with a free roof inspection if you're curious about what's going on with your roof. 512-645-3202 or visit hartgroveroofing.com. And my man Stevie Lee at Stevie Lee 65. We appreciate you, Stevie Lee. How was the weekend?
Weekend was fantastic, man. Got some good rest. Watched some good football. It was a fun weekend, man.
It was a wild weekend. You saw several upsets. One went down 4, 9, 10, 11. You had a lot of big upsets over the weekend. And then the Longhorns end up being number one when all the dust settles. What are your thoughts about whether Longhorns are ranked going into the Texas OU game? First time in 40 years, the Longhorns have been number one going into that Texas OU game in a long time. What are your thoughts about the weekend that you saw and how that connects to the Longhorns and their focus going forward?
Man, it's a lot of parity in college football, what Coach Brown used to say. But,
True
man,
that.
listen, Vandy taking out number one. They're handing out these number one spots really easily, though. I don't think we should have lost it last week. We played last week. Apparently, we didn't play well and lost the number one, right? We did not play this week and got the number one back. Make it make sense, you know?
I'll take it.
So I'm not putting too much stock into the number one ranking, but I'm glad that we are on top. I hope the kids don't put any stock in that, man. We need them just to go out there and play hard. You know, this week is a rivalry game, and Ra, you know this. Coach, all y'all know this. You know, you throw everything out in a rivalry game. You know, it's Texas OU week, and you know, and what time is it? Y'all know what time it is. Yeah,
it's 3:40,
and OU still sucks.
Damn right it is.
And so it's just they're gonna come out on fire. We come out on fire, man. All the records are out. You know, it's just they hate us. We don't really like them, and let's just put the ball in the middle of the field and let's work it out. You know, so anything can happen in that game, as long as you are disciplined and execute, then you'll come out on top. And I think we can do that. I think we're the better team at executing.
Yeah, I agree with that as well, Stevie. I wanted to get your thoughts and go back to your first time playing in this game because, we hear about it all the time from folks that, didn't suit up, but we hear it from Sark all the time. It's unique. It's different. You ride the bus into the fair, half the side hates you, half the side loves you. But then you get out and it's a party, right? You smell the corn dogs, you smell the popcorn, everything's in the air. It's so unique. But to walk out of that tunnel for the first time and to be masqueraded with the booze and then to run over to your side and be welcomed by the cheers of the burnt orange over there. What was that like for you that first time that you came out of the tunnel in Dallas?
Well, the first time I had broken my foot against Stanford in the Stanford game, so I got a medical red shirt. But Coach Brown and my Coach Tolley still wanted me to travel with the team. So I go to that game. I'm in a boot on the sideline, and Coach Brown made a deal with all the team. He said, "We win the game. You guys could stay at the fair and just find your way back to Austin." and I was like, "Oh, okay. We just find our way back to Austin. I'm pretty sure I can catch a ride with one of my friends or somebody that's going back to Austin. We can get a ride with if we win the game." Man, we go out there. I got my jacket on. I got a boot on my foot. And but running out of the tunnel was fantastic. It's great. And I'll get to that. But we ended up losing, what was that, 63-3 that year?
It was bad.
And it started raining. It was freezing cold. I was like, man, get me out of here. Get me out of here. But before the game, the atmosphere is electric, man. I've never felt anything like that. You got your police escorts getting into the stadium. You have the OU fans flipping you off on the bus. Like, we haven't even started yet, y'all. Chill, So, and then getting off the bus, it's just a crowd of people. Getting into the locker rooms back then were real small and cramped, right, Rob?
Yeah.
And then, but getting your clothes on and getting out to the field with your brothers locked on and arm in arm, man, you get fired up. And some people look at it as a disadvantage, but I think it's an advantage for us to come out underneath the OU fans. All right. So we gotta go through underneath the OU fans, and then we run to our side of the field. And that's been like that every year. And so I thought that got us fired up, to hit the field and then, go out there and execute. So, it was fun, man. It's a great atmosphere. It's like none other in college football, I believe.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I haven't experienced it. I hear Big Red, Keith Moore, and legendary lifetime Longhorn say he stood at the plate in the World Series and he got the same feeling. He said he remembered that feeling because it was a feeling he got in the Texas OU game. And I hear Dan Neal talk about, oh no, he had more nerves and more butterflies in the Texas OU game than he did when he played in the Super Bowl. So when I hear guys say stuff like that, then I know it is special. There's something special about that environment. There's no doubt about that, Stevie. Well, let me ask you just about this team overall for Texas. playing to a certain standard in this game. What's the biggest factor in this matchup to you? Whether that's something that's a universal kind of truth in this game throughout the years, or whether you think it's very specific to this particular matchup between this OU team and this Texas team, or you're talking about something that's been true throughout the years in the Texas OU game, back in your day to this day. What to you is the factor? It's like, this is something Texas has to be on top of. They had to emphasize and prioritize this. What is it for you? What's your X factor?
Well, for me, what I saw, and even what I saw last year, we're going to make plays.
Mm-hmm.
OU going to make plays, but we still need to execute and play our game, our game plan. Whatever was put together, just play our game. Because after that last drive last year, where they went down the field, he made a few plays, and then he let one good play. We let one good play turn into another good play, They're going to make plays. Get back to your fundamentals. Erase that and get back to your fundamentals and play football again. Because in a rivalry game, both teams are going to make plays. And just even kill. What you said earlier is not as good as you think it is, not as bad as you think it is. Let's get back on the ball and play.
Yep.
I feel. Just even kill.
Yeah.
How real are those momentum shifts in this game?
They can be really real if you let it. Like last year, they got a couple big pass plays, and Texas kind of got deflated and didn't get back up, and they kept the momentum to the touchdown, and that was it. That was all she wrote. So I think big plays can turn out to be big drives and big time touchdown plays. I think it factors a lot into it, man. If you let it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think the momentum shifts. I'll get into it a little bit later on, but I think the unique environment is what makes those momentum shifts so drastic.
Yep.
I have a theory about it, but I don't need to dive into it now because I'll bore people half to death, and Stevie's got stuff to do. So we only got Stevie here for a little while, so I don't want to dive into that too much. But Stevie, give me you got a favorite memory from this contest, Texas OU? I know what your worst one is. You just gave it to us because you reminded me of my worst too. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. I was trying to forget about that game when we got blown out by the OU game. But you got a favorite memory? One that's a good one. I know when you don't have a lot of wins, it's hard to find a favorite one. Trust me, I'm saying.
No, I got a
one good memory, and it's the one good play I made, even though we lost a lot of games. But what's your favorite one?
I had a couple good tackle for losses. There was one that I remember right before the last play before halftime. We thought that they weren't going to snap the ball. They snapped the ball, and I shoot the gap, and I get a tackle for a loss. Was it Griffin, the running back? Was it
yes.
Griffin? Yes.
Yeah.
It was on him.
Yeah.
I can also share you my worst.
Oh,
did I tell you guys I was supposed to have contained? Did I tell y'all that story?
I don't know if you did.
Okay, this is my worst, man. All right, Coach Bull Reese and Coach Mike Tollison, we ran a ed on the wide side of the field.
Yeah.
End goes down first, tackle comes around, and tackle's supposed to have contained. And this is the wide side of the field. And, after I broke my foot and came back out the rehab and things like that, I wasn't the fastest guy on the field after that,
Were you before that? The fastest?
Hell yeah. But anyway, and so and the boundary was to our sideline. And ball snaps. I think it was Kalen Thornton crashes down, and I got to go around, and I got contained. And who they have in the backfield is Adrian Peterson.
Wow.
Adrian Peterson hit that corner, and in my head, I said, I got to beat him to the sideline and try to turn him in some kind of way. Adrian is, I'm 6'4", 6'5". Adrian's probably 6'3", 6'4". He's looking at me dead in my eyes while he's running the ball. Looking at me like, did they really put him on contain on me? And I can hear Coach Tolley on the sideline came, Come on. I'm like, Coach, I'm giving you all I got, man. What more do you want from me? You know? And here comes Adrian Peterson looking me dead in the eyes and then just kind of walks right around me, man. I get to the sideline. Coach is like, you got contained. I was like, Coach, I tried to help you. It's Adrian Peterson, man. Come on. So that's my worst moment. I laugh about it today, because, I do. I don't know, man. It's just
Coach set you up for failure on that one, man. Coach
yeah,
set
he
you up
did.
for
Like
failure,
that. So in my older age, I started thinking about coaching him more. I was like, man, you got this fat guy that's in a 3 technique trying to hit the boundary to keep contained. Bull Reese, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? That's not on me no more, I internalized that for a long time, man. This is my therapy session right here. You guys, I appreciate you guys letting me get this out. This is therapy for me. I internalized that for a long time, man. And now I realize that was a coaching decision right there to put me on contain. Yeah,
well, against Adrian Peterson. But if it was against some other, say if it was against, I don't know, some running back from Iowa State or something like that, and nothing against those guys, but I'm just saying it might have been a little different. You're talking about a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest running backs of all time, and he wanted you to keep contained on him. Hey, only so much you can do.
But be careful with Iowa State because there's a couple times I had contained on Seneca Wallace, quarterback.
I know. Yeah.
I kept him inside, though. I kept him inside, but
Seneca was like up for the Heisman. I want to say one of them years, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Seneca was nice, man, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, Stevie, I won't keep you too long, man. We know you got stuff to do. We always appreciate you coming and sharing your stories. All right, the highs and the lows with us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stevie. Tell wifey we said what's up, and
She just walked in. Come here and say hi, baby.
Oh.
Come on.
Yeah. Hey,
it's all right. She just came
truth.
here from working out. She's mad about her makeup.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look at that. See, the better half. Good to see you.
There it is.
There's the best half for
You're
sure.
looking good. You're looking good. Outfit is covered.
All right. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank y'all for having me on. I know it's a short week this week, but next week we don't have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Thank you, Stevie.
All right, guys.
Appreciate you, brother. Hook 'em.
Thank you, Stevie.
That's Lifetime Longhorn Stevie Lee, Curtis for our good friends over at Hard Grove Roofing. Thank you very much to our good friends at Hard Grove Roofing, 512-645-3202. You can check them out actually online as well at hardgroveroofing.com with offices all over Louisiana, Texas, and Arkansas. The folks over at Hard Grove Roofing do a great job, and they'll do a great job for you as well. Go check them out for yourself. Know who's on your roof over at Hard Grove Roofing at hardgroveroofing.com. Thank you very much to them for sponsoring this segment of the Winning Drive. All right, we got a couple of we got a chat here, super chat, so we'll get to that before we get to some of the questions. And I got a question for the panel here. This is from Marcos29. Thank you, Marcos, for your super chat. We appreciate it. Says, which receiver do you guys believe will have the next 100+ yard game? Now you're talking about the receiver that hasn't had a 100+ yard game already. Just like so who is going to be? I'd say list. So who's already been? DeAndre Moore had one. Did Wingo have a 100-yard game, or did he just have an all-purpose when it comes to? I don't know if he's had 100 yards yet, actually.
Yeah, it's a short list, and obviously DeAndre Moore had 103, 104 last week against Mississippi State. I want to say Bond got one earlier this year, but
I think you're right about Bond having one too.
I don't think that list goes very far. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think you're right. So who goes for 100 yards next? Honestly, if I would say Ryan Wingo is probably the easiest bet because his plays are so explosive. He would be the easiest bet to throw out there as a guy that would end up with, the next 100 yards receiving. He's led you in receiving, I believe, twice already, but never ended up with like 100 yards receiving. Oh, yeah, there you go. I take that back. Actually, I take that back. I apologize. He did. So Wingo and Moore, your 200-yard receivers. Helm was really close. Thank you for pulling that up, Matthew. He was really close in that Michigan game. Nobody saw that coming. I guess I'd go Bond then, obviously. Yeah.
I want to go Bond as well.
Yeah.
I say Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, it's got to be Bond.
I mean, in the big games, you go to your clutch guys. Isaiah Bond has done it before. We saw him last year against Alabama win a game. I mean, when he played for Alabama. I say Isaiah Bond because this is a game where it's just such a huge difference than what Ryan Wingo has ever experienced. Isaiah Bond has been there, so for that reason, which may not be much of a reason, but I'm going to go with the proven commodity Isaiah Bond having 100-plus game this week.
I like it.
Yeah. Actually, I think when you start, he makes so many big plays, just assume that he's had one of those 100-yard games. I hope they run a reverse in this game with Isaiah Bond or Brian Wingo. I was just looking at
Silas Bolden.
Silas Bolden can be yeah, right. Silas Bolden has one of those on the year too. He's got the only one that didn't gain like 25 yards. So all the rest of them gained at least 25, 26, 55 yards. Until those end arounds, when Sark's got great timing calling those. He calls them at the perfect time. The one that Silas Bolden is probably the one that I guess wasn't perfect time, but he catches the defense by surprise every time. They never see it coming. They never see the end around coming for Texas. It's amazing. Look at that. Oh, so he did. So he had two. He was the leading receiver in that game. So you were right, CJ. He was a guy that had 100 yards already. So
here we go.
At 3. You've had 3 then. Thank you very much for my man Matthew doing the research there. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate that.
42.3 average. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, so he was the leader. So you've had 3. I guess if you're talking about receivers who haven't had a 100-yard game, most likely to get a 100-yard game now with Bond, Wingo also in that category, then DeAndre Moore in that category. I mean, Matthew Golden doesn't go downfield that much often, though. Right? Matthew Golden is like your red zone guy. They like him on some money downs. I don't know if they use him enough vertically for him to get the 100 yards. Because in this offense, you're not going to get the 100 yards through a lot of targets. It's just not going to happen. There's not enough targets to go around. You got to get your 100 yards on like 4-5 targets. And that's what Ringo's doing. That's what Bud does. And that's what DeAndre Moore did. DeAndre Moore had like 4 targets in the game.
Yeah. That could be your tendency breaker there, in a game like this.
Yeah,
a little Matthew Golden going deep, because again, that's kind of been his MO even dating back to Houston. They used him in a way that his average distance of target was about 8 or 9 yards down the field, which for a wide receiver is not very deep at all. Texas, not as shallow, but not necessarily the speed deep threat that we've seen with an Isaiah Bond or Ryan Wingo so far. Of course, Jonte had his opportunity a week ago. Silas Bolden was I still think he caught that football against UTSA as well on the diving pass as well. So there's several other, when you list off the Texas wide receivers in terms of ranking the deep threats, you got to go a little while down that list to find a Matthew Golden. And we've certainly not seen it consistently so far this year. Maybe we see it against Oklahoma, because I know that Venables is going to be sitting there saying, hey, defensive position meeting room. All right, watch out for 7, watch out for 1. 2, you probably don't have to be on your heels all that much. You can kind of get up there and jump some of his routes. Yeah, maybe not.
No, that's a good point. That'd be nice, because that's what you're looking for in this game, a tendency break of some kind to catch the opponent by surprise. That could be a good one, how they use Matthew Golden. Maybe one of those seam routes or a slot fade with a Matthew Golden may not be a bad idea. All right, getting back to the super chats here. Thank you guys for the super chats. We appreciate it. This one's from Lane. Lane Seawright, thank you very much. Says, y'all have been saying the teeth of OU's defense is their strength. Which players should we look out for, and what makes them so productive? For me personally, and I'll let Coach and CJ give you their thoughts, I don't necessarily think that they're very structurally or fundamentally sound as a defense. They do give up plays. They don't suffocate you, but they're so havoc-minded. They make a lot of splash plays in critical moments.
Yes.
And they do that really well, right? CJ, you're talking about sacks. I don't know where they are ranked. They're still top 5 in takeaways. They're about top 10, I think, now in sacks after their bye week. Top 15, top 20 in tackles for loss. They're a splash-minded, havoc-minded defense. That's what they feed off of. If you protect the ball and protect your quarterback versus Oklahoma, you give no life to their defense.
That's exactly the key for me. If Quinn Ewers and the Texas offense hold on to the rock and don't create these turnovers, there's no way that Texas loses this game. There simply is not an avenue that I see Oklahoma winning unless they create multiple takeaways. And again, you look at it last year. They should not have won that game, but what did they do very well? Well, 4 turnovers, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and the 4 stops at the one that essentially was a turnover in its own right. Texas should have won that game a year ago, shot themselves in the foot a little bit. Texas, if they take care of the game, take care of the ball this week, they will win the football game. The thing is with me, every win that Oklahoma's had so far this year has become mostly because of these turnovers. Against Temple week 1, they had 3 turnovers in Temple's area or side of the field. We saw it against Auburn, the pick 6 late in that game to cap an 11-point fourth quarter comeback. Tennessee, what did they do? They actually took care of the football pretty well, and obviously Oklahoma was the one that was turning the ball over all that often in that football game. So when you start to really sit back and see how Oklahoma's winning these games, it's defense creating offense rather than the other side of the ball, in which Texas, I think, more so plays good defense offensively because a lot of these drives are starting on their own 20 and their own 25 because of touchbacks after scores. That's not going to be the case all that much for Oklahoma this weekend, just in the sense that that offensive line, limited wide receivers, freshman quarterback making a second career start. You do that in an environment like this one with the expectations and kind of that hostility as high as it is, good luck, because I don't think that's a recipe for success in a game like this.
Yeah,
I think that's probably one of the same things, though, that Alabama was saying about Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
You know, this is Vanderbilt's season was Alabama game, and they won. They made themselves very valid again, if nothing else. But I say, make no mistake, OU will have things up their sleeves offensively, and they will take advantage of. They'll hide their deficiencies on offense, and they will take advantage of their strengths. And with some injuries, we don't know for sure who's going to be in that mix. But just know this: they're no dummies. Like I've always said about our coaches, they didn't just fall off a turnip truck. OU will have an offensive game plan that will put Texas in a bind. Just count on it.
Yeah,
they will have some success. I've never played in this game. I've been on the sideline several times. I know that this is a game of the unexpected. Mm-hmm. There's always unexpected heroes that rise on both sides of the ball, both sides of the field in this game, because to both schools, this is a must-win game. And even probably more so for Oklahoma, because Texas is ranked number 1. They will pull out everything. So no matter what else Texas does the rest of the season, if OU can somehow come out of that game with a win, then everything they've done up to this point is irrelevant. They beat the number 1 team in the nation. So I'm just telling you, be prepared, because OU is not going to come into this game and have the same old crappy offense that we've seen. They will be firing on all 8 cylinders. They'll show us things we haven't seen, and we will have to overcome adversity. Rod, am I right? This is a game about overcoming adversity, because there will be adversity.
What does that look like, Coach? When you said that they have, stuff that we haven't seen yet, is that different formations? Is that different personnel groupings? Is it a double pass, a flea flicker? Are they going deep into the bag of tricks? Is it everything? Is it an accumulation? What do you think that might look like on Saturday?
I expect to see more movement offensively. I expect to see more shifting and motions, trying to get us in a bind with how we pass off guys, or whatever our checkoff is for this formation or that formation. You have a defense call, but when they shift or motion to another formation, a lot of times that will cause the defense to go to an automatic call that they have. And so if they can figure out what that is, they can potentially take advantage of that until the Texas staff has a chance to make adjustments. But I'm just telling you, just different wrinkles, different things we haven't seen, tendency breaker. There's no telling how it will manifest itself, but I promise you it will. And they'll come into Dallas ready to play. They'll show us things we haven't seen. They'll have some success against our defense. The question will be, how do we respond to it defensively? How do we respond to it offensively?
Yeah. And Tulane's point about the players you look out for. Everybody knows the linebacker, Danny Stutzman. He's a stud. He's one of the best linebackers in the country. He leads them in tackles. I think their back seven is one of the best in college football. They have Billy Bowman. Everybody knows him. He's one of the best safeties out there, but also Spears Jennings, I believe is his name. He's a really good player for them. Their leading pass rusher, at least the guy who leads them in sacks right now, is Art Mason Thomas. He's got 5.5 sacks on the season. They got a lot of guys who contribute in terms of getting after the quarterback, because there are a lot of exotic pressure packages that Brent Venables puts together. So not only do the front seven get into it, but he's got a lot of DBs. Matter of fact, Spears Jennings got 2 sacks on the season too. He gets a lot of DBs involved in his pressure packages. So it'll be a challenge for the Texas offense, because their back seven, it counters what Sark does really well. The back seven does, but I don't know if we'll see if their defensive line can hold up against the Texas O-line, but they actually have some really impressive skill position guys in their back seven, in their defensive backfield. Thank you for the question there, Lane. We appreciate it. How about this one from let's hit our sponsor really quick before we move on, because I know we're moving through the live stream here. Let's hit Duck Camp. Thank you very much to our friends over at Duck Camp. Really appreciate them sponsoring the winning drive. Duck Camp produces premium outdoor goods for the outdoor spirit in all of us. Duck Camp is dedicated to providing the best outdoor goods so you can outdoor good, whether you're an avid hunter or whether you prefer fishing, or you're like me and you prefer to hang out around the campsite and you love the camaraderie of the campfire. Duck Camp is a brand that understands the culture of outdoor living and the good times and good friends that come along with living an outdoor lifestyle. They have a new fall selection out. It is a great fall selection. I've already ordered some items from it. You can go check that out at duckcamp.com. They do a really good job of, kind of mixing, blending their brands, whether you're actually want it for the hunting and the fishing, and you need it for actually applicable wear to get out there and do some hunting and fishing in your outdoor lifestyle, or if you're like me and you just kind of prefer the fashionable items they have there at duckcamp.com. They got something for everybody, so check it out for yourself. That's duckcamp.com, and we appreciate them sponsoring this segment of the winning drive. All right, Sagar Patel, thank you for the question here. Says, do you think Texas prepares for both OU quarterbacks? Could see them going back to Arnold at halftime if their offense isn't clicking. Sark should have learned that lesson in his first Texas OU game, right? Because essentially that first one, because you had Spencer Rattler. You had a great game plan. You had him game planned up. You had him game planned up so well that they had to bench him, put in Caleb Williams, and then you lost the game essentially because your game plan for Spencer was so good and you hadn't. And why would you? There was some snaps that we had seen Caleb Williams that year, but there was no reason to believe that they were going to go all in with Caleb Williams in that game. But that's exactly what they did. Texas ends up losing that game because Caleb Williams put the cape on and you weren't prepared for both quarterbacks. So, Coach, I don't know if they'll split the practice time, but I imagine there will be at least some, observational practice time spent with, hey, Arnold has this skill set. It's a little different. These are things they like to do with him.
Yeah, I don't know that they have a Caleb Williams in the bullpen. This year. That's a first round draft pick, Chicago Bears. I don't know that they have one of those in their repertoire, but I do think, sure, if their offense isn't clicking, they will do what they have to do to get their offense clicking. If it means bringing Arnold back in, that's what they'll do. They'll do whatever they have to do to win the game.
You're telling me Casey Thompson isn't Superman? we haven't figured that out by year 7 of him playing college football, but no, Coach, I'm with you. They don't have that guy. They thought it was going to be Jackson Arnold. We saw what it looked like the first 4 weeks of the season. All of a sudden, he's out of a job. Michael Hawkins, could he turn into a good football player? Sure, but again, things are kind of working against his favor right now when you consider that hodgepodge of an offensive line and you consider the wide receivers that are sidelined right now due to injury. Again, that'll be really interesting to see how much Venables kind of showcases on that injury or availability report that comes out Wednesday evening. I'm sure he'll be trying to hide his hand just a little bit, or as much as he can, really.
Oh, Sugar Daddy says, thank you for the super chat, Sugar Daddy. Stutzman is going to be calling him daddy by the end of the game. Ooh. I hope you're right about that. I would say Helm stepped up in a big way in that Michigan game. So he is a big game player. That would be nice. It's a great way, though, to keep those linebackers from Oklahoma for being so aggressive, is to hurt them in that intermediate area with the tight end, delayed releases by the tight end, some play action with the tight end. And I think Helm can win his fair share of one-on-ones, too. So I like that. I like that, Sugar Daddy. Thank you for the super chat. How about this one from my man CB? Rod, favorite food at the state fair, and how long did Mac let y'all be at the state fair? I know Max used to tell you if you won, you could stay at the state fair. We only won 1 year, and that was 1999. And we damn near lost that game because Mike Leach put out the old dummy script, coach, for right when that Tom Herman and Oscar Giles found that old dummy script down there, and that Mike Leach had dropped intentionally on the ground. And boy, I love Carl Boris. He fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, man. He did at first until he realized, I think we were down double digits at the time, and he realized, oh, this is definitely not the script they're using. And then we came back and won the game. Thank the Lord. That's my only win versus Oklahoma, guys. Only one I got. And I didn't. I was young then, so I didn't stay and party in Dallas at the time. And the word on the street is that when you win, all right, you own the town. You own Dallas for the night. The other fans have to go home. Y'all go back to Oklahoma or you go back to Austin because, hey, now to the winner goes the spoils. And, yeah, as I said, what's going on here? Dummy script in the tunnel. Love that, man. Yeah, man. Mike Leach is like, Coach, isn't that awesome?
Who thinks about that? Yeah, I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe again. I mean, that's crazy. But what I love about this game is you've got Brent Venables, one of the best defensive minds in college football. You've got Steve Sarkeesian, one of the best offensive minds in college football. And those two will show us things we haven't seen. So to me, it's not only a chess match from head coaches, but also offensive coordinator to defensive coordinator. We've already talked about the opposite. We've already talked about the fact that OU has saved things offensively for Texas that they have not shown, and they will try things to put us in a bind. But to me, this is what makes college football so great. You've got great minds, and it's a chess match between those two. And just watch the way that it develops or unfolds on Saturday, and it's going to be a very entertaining game. You're going to see things that you just never imagined that you would see because OU hadn't done that yet, or Texas hasn't done that yet, offensively and defensively. It's going to be so fun, especially for somebody like you, Rod and CJ, that you analyze things. You guys break things down. There's going to be so much to break down after this game because we're going to see a lot of things we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. You're right about that, Coach. And a lot of Longhorn fans didn't want to give Brent Venables props last year, but I said, man, that was a great game plan he had against Sark. Sark's a hard guy to coach against, especially if you're trying to match wits with that dude and his offensive brilliance. It can be tough. I thought Brent Venables did a good job. You're not going to stop it. All you can kind of hope to do is make plays against it. And that's exactly what Oklahoma did. How about this is from Quentin? He says, thank you for the super chat, Quentin. Thank you very much. Says, Jackson not losing his red shirt for this team. You might be right about that. Good point.
You are right about that.
It's a different era of college sports, CJ.
Yeah, listen, I've seen some comments about Jaheim Otis, the defensive tackle from Alabama, asking to preserve his red shirt and hit the portal after the season. I bet you see the same exact thing from Jackson Arnold after this year. Will Texas have interest in Otis? I think they'll kick the tires. Maybe a little too early to tell, but he was a guy Texas had interest coming out of high school, and he's a talented interior defensive lineman, which Texas will be losing quite a few for 2025.
Good point there. Nice update. Sorry, CB, I never answered your question about favorite food at the state fair. I'm old school with my food. I mean, as long as I got my turkey leg, I'm pretty good. I get a turkey leg, I'm satisfied. I don't need all the fried Dr. Pepper and the fried butter and all that. Nah, I'm good on my stomach. I'm 44 now. I can't be doing that at a state fair, but bubble guts, I'd be in one of them porta potties for like a couple hours. Nope, I can't do that. So I stick with what I know. Nice turkey leg. It's all good. I don't get into that exotic stuff. Coach, you get into some of that crazy stuff at the state fair? What's your favorite state fair food, Coach?
No, it's got to be the what is it? They fry it and put powdered sugar on it.
Funnel cake. Come on.
Funnel cake. I'm a funnel cake guy, man. Old school.
You got the shirt all white with the frosting.
All white. Everybody knows that I'm the fat guy because all that powdered sugar falls on my belly that's sticking out a little bit further. You know, it's called the dicky-doo disease. That's when your belly stick out further than your dicky-doo. But anyway, hey. Yeah. Not to be confused with a titty-doo for the female. But it's all over my stomach, man. I mean, people.
Oh, man,
there we go. It's
on the tally.
There it is. That's how you know we get close to the end. When Coach gets that, when we get the gift, we're good. Wow, that's a great.
It's true though, CB, you know it's true. For all of us larger fellas, when that belly's sticking out further than something else does, it's not a great deal.
Oh my gosh!
When your belly stick out further, it's not a good sign. So everybody knows I've had a funnel cake.
Wow,
that was great.
That is fan. I don't even know. I was gonna go to one of our sponsors, and I don't know if I can segue to that. I'm just gonna do it. We love you. We love you, Flat Creek. So this is not.
I'm just here for the entertainment, man. That's it. Just make an ass out of myself. I'm pretty good at it.
Oh man, hey, you coach. Hey, we ain't gonna let nobody cancel you, coach. So we love you too much. All right, how about that? Did you know that the most awarded wine in Texas actually vineyard closest to Austin, Texas? That's right, folks. Flat Creek Estate Winery is just minutes from downtown Austin, and they've won award after award this year for their vintage wine, Super Texan. Super Texan is now available at your local spec, so please give it a try. Also, they have it at Central Market if you are so inclined, if you're doing your shopping there, which me and my wife do. So she was very happy to see her favorite wine displayed there at Central Market. Of course, Flat Creek is also a gorgeous venue with barbecues and wine tastings every single weekend, perfect for a day date with your significant other or a weekend getaway with your significant other. That's Flat Creek Estate Winery, flatcreekestate.com. We thank you very much for sponsoring the winning drive. Oh, man, my stomach hurts a little bit from laughing so hard, Coach. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm not going to get over it. I'm going to tell my wife that joke actually tonight. I'm going to try to find the right time to throw in the Dicky Doo joke. All right. Miracle Martinez says 1994, fake Texas versus OU, 4th and goal for OU at the Texas 4-yard line. Stoney Court came down the goal line as OU crossed the 1-yard line. Stoney, boom, stopped him dead in his tracks. Texas wins. That's one of those iconic moments. And Miracle Martinez, I'll tell you this, and this is actually one of my Stevie Lee shared with y'all, something that had been heavy on his heart that happened in the Texas OU game, that Adrian Martinez stared him down eye to eye and basically kind of mocked him with his eyes, like, ain't no damn way you can be having contained on me. And he just went around him. I thought that I would have one of those Stoney Clark plays, like one of those plays that would be remembered and revered, like a Stoney Clark play in a iconic, legendary win for Texas. And I thought it would be 2002. Matter of fact, Sugar Daddy, what's up? Sugar Daddy throws it out here. Sugar Daddy, thank you for the super chat. Rod, can you break down your pick six against OU for us one more time? Spare no details, my good man. Yeah, I thought this was going to be my play. I remember thinking, Coach, I'm running to the end zone. Oh, we about to, because I think we went up double digits at that point, if I'm not mistaken. We went up 2 scores. I'm thinking we about to beat them. Now, it's a little early for me to be thinking that, because it's right before halftime, but I'm thinking we're going to beat them. We're better than Oklahoma. We know we've been taking our lumps 2000, 2001. My senior year, my dogs, we going to get it done. We got enough firepower to get it. And I thought, this is it. And this is a lesson I learned in Texas OU game. It was a valuable lesson. And go back and Sugar Daddy, I'll give you the details of the pick in a second. But you go look at the very next play after my pick. It's a great moment in my life. I mean, everybody's cheering. I'm looking at the stand thinking to myself, I remember I go down and prayed right after. I was like, thank the Lord. God, thank you for giving me that play. What a great play. I'm about to go back to Austin and party after we beat Oklahoma. Oh man, everybody's gonna be buying me drinks. It's gonna be great. And the very next play, coach, they returned it deep into Texas territory. I want to say it like inside the 10, they returned it deep. Next play. All the momentum that I thought I had gathered for my team in that one play vanished, gone.
Mm-hmm.
And the lesson I learned was, and you talked about this earlier, Coach, you got to answer in this game. So if that momentum doesn't overwhelm you and doesn't become like a snowball effect where you just get steamrolled by a ton of momentum in this game, you have to answer. Sark learned it too, right? It happened in his first year, the momentum. He had it all in the first half, and then it started to shift, and everybody went, something weird's going on. And you can feel it if you're in the stadium. It's palpable. And I think what Venables and what Sark know now is never let the other side monopolize momentum, because when they do, you may not get it back for a while, and you can't afford that. That's why you'll see trick plays. You'll see Sark dial up something right after a big play by Oklahoma, because you can't allow them to keep the momentum for too long, because if they do, they monopolize it. That's why the momentum shifts in that game are so drastic, because it is split in half. See, momentum shifts in usually in a road or home game, they have the same tone, right? Because if I'm at home, momentum shift, the crowd is quiet. All right, they're sad because Texas had a bad play. If I'm on the road, everybody is hype at the same time because of a bad play by Texas or a big play by that team, that home team when we're on the road. But in that game, you can not only you have the excitement and the ecstasy of the team and the crowd where they're supporting their team's making big plays, but you do have the disappointment, which you can feel. You can hear it. I can hear you guys' groans when I'm on the field sometimes when a bad play happens to Texas, like, oh, and you hear the other side go, yeah, and it fuels the other side. Your disappointment fuels them. They love seeing sad Longhorns, so they're hyper than they normally would be. It is such a unique beast in that regard, and I think that's why the momentum, man. You talked about it, CJ. It's so big in this game. And the players, we feel it too. We know it. You can feel it. I thought I had the momentum gone like that because OU answered. And I think they went in and scored right after that. And my pick six meant nothing. Nothing. Sugar Daddy, I went to the combine and I believe it was the Falcons and the Vikings. They swear that I was in zone coverage on my pick six, but I wasn't. I was actually in man coverage. We were tangoing because they had Quentin Griffin. I believe he was offset to that side, and they had like a tight twins, all right, tight bunch there, like Sark does, condensed set. And the two twins, they went away. So I was going tango. I was taking any outside cut of that group. And we basically decided, because we were high-level football players, I was a senior time, we involved Quentin Griffin in our tango. It was a three-man tango, coach. They thought it was a two-man tango. I involved the linebacker and the safety in my tango and said, one guy take deep, one guy take inside cut, I'll take the outside cut. And then, boom, they threw it. They thought we were in man coverage and I was going to go away, but I didn't. I actually took the outside cut, and that's why it was such a bad read by him. But it was just it was a misread by him because of the way that we set up our tango. And trust me, I'm thinking I was gonna drop it too, because I had a lot of drops in my time. Y'all know it. And I'm like, Rob B, you cannot drop this, dog. You dropped a lot of them, but I never dropped the ones in the big games. I caught the ones that mattered in big games, none bigger than that one. And once I got it, oh, there wasn't nobody getting me. I thought about high stepping. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna ruin the moment, coach, because Coach Aquino wouldn't have liked that. Coach Brown would have got on me. So I didn't ruin the moment by high stepping. I just gave props. I pointed to the Lord, gave God his props, went down, did Tebow before Tebow was a thing, and then went to the sideline and celebrated with my team.
I like that.
Isn't it amazing how many thoughts can go through your mind while you're running with the ball? It's amazing. 1,000 thoughts running through your mind while you're running with the ball. In like just a couple of seconds, you got all these thoughts.
It's true. It is. You're right. I thought about it. I was like, if I said my mama going to be mad at me, dad's going to be like, son, that was so unnecessary. You ruined a good month. Like, everybody going to be, it's more disappointment than people who would be excited about it. So,
there it is right there.
And you know what? I still got Chris. Like, Coach Keenan was like, hey, don't gesture with the ball like that. Use the other hand. You know what I mean? He's like, don't point with the ball. I was like, oh, that's my little celebration right there. You know what I mean? There you go. So thank you guys for allowing me to relive
That's good
that.
stuff, Rod.
Great job,
I
Matthew.
appreciate it.
Great job.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. You're the man, Matthew. All right, let's thank another our sponsor before we get out of here. We appreciate our good friends over at South Point Dodge for sponsoring the winning drive. We're really happy that they're a part of the On Texas football family. And if you need a new automobile, you need to hit up our friends over at South Point Dodge. They have a great selection right now, folks, of over 600 vehicles in stock right now, including a great selection of Ram 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s. Whatever your truck needs, South Point Dodge is the one-stop shop. And also right now, they have a great deal happening on over 50 Ram 2500s, all marked down with huge savings. So head on over to South Point Dodge, as in South Austin off I-35, or you can go see their inventory at southpointdodge.com. That's southpointdodge.com. Whatever your truck needs, South Point Dodge is the one-stop shop. Austin's automotive everything. That is southpointdodge.com. Thank you very much to our friends over at South Point Dodge. All right, I know we're getting close to it here. How about this one real quick by Reggie? Confession, Rod B. I go back and listen to old Longhorn Blitz episodes just to get a laugh at the ranting and bad days of Texas football. Thanks to Stark, I think those days are long gone. Yeah, I haven't been screaming and yelling since I've been on this channel, because I've been on this channel the last 2 years. Usually I'm known for the guy coach that's ranting and raving and screaming like a lunatic about Texas football, but I haven't had to do that the last 2 years because Texas is good. I think those days are done for me. I really do. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the angry Longhorn analyst. Why would I want to be that guy? I got a daughter now. I want to be happy. So thank you, Reggie, though, for going back and listen to some of those old Longhorn Blitz episodes. All right. Thank you guys for all the super chats. Thank you guys for all the support and your participation. You guys always make this a lot of fun. It just flies by every time. Coach, once we got to put together a reel. Someone says, as if this live stream ain't going to be demonetized anyway. Roll the tape. Demonized.
That's a 10 out of 10 comment right there.
You're trying to say demonized. I apologize if I misread that. I think I say demonized. Yeah, but we're not gonna let them. We're not gonna let them do anything to Coach. Man, Coach is our comic relief on the show. Nobody brings it better than Coach, and he's our wisdom on the show as well. So thank you, Coach, for all you do. We appreciate that. And thank you, CJ, for the nuggets and all the hard work. Matthew behind the scenes, give it up for Matthew, because Matthew is unbelievable. Every day he makes all of our shows top notch in terms of the quality, because he does a great job. So I want to thank him again, and thank all of our friends for the super chats. Thank you guys, and our sponsors, of course. Thank our friends over at South Point Dodge, southpointdodge.com, Flat Creek Estate Winery, flatcreekestate.com, duckcamp.com. Go check them out as well. And our friends over at Hardgrove Roofing, hardgroveroofing.com. All right, tomorrow you got Coffee and Football. You also have, that'll be at 8 a.m. You got the live stream that'll be at 7 p.m. and anything in between, On Texas Football has got you covered. ontexasfootball.com and here at the On Texas Football YouTube channel. Thanks, CJ. Thank you, Coach. Thank Matthew. And thank you to all you guys for watching and listening. Until next time, hook 'em horns.